listening to the Nerdy Harry podcast. The Nerdy Harry.
Watching the Nerdy Harry channel.
Hi, Nerdy Harry.
You're watching the Nerdy Harry channel.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Nerdy Harry channel. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Joseph Henry, but you guys mostly know me as Joey.
Formal Joey.
Yes.
It's Joseph. Wow, I like that. Joseph Henry. That's pretty, that's very spy-like.
It very is. Henry. Joseph Henry.
There you go. Da-da! How you doing, Joey?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. We're going to try something like, because I know Joseph and I were talking about this before we started the podcast, that we always sound so far away in some of our podcasts. So let us know if this sounds better or not, because we're going to try to speak a little closer to the microphone. But before we get started, hey, let's just say a big congratulations to Countdown to Geektown on their 1 year anniversary. That was very cool that they had a woo! Good job, guys. They've done such a great job of staying, week to week consistent, and they do a great job. So, congratulations to them. But let's get started here now. Okay, we're a little behind. We're a week behind on the Logan thing. But Logan, what'd you think, Joey?
I really like Logan. I was, I'll be honest with you. I'm not like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed the movie tremendously. I thought it was a fitting end.
And by the way, let's just go ahead and say there's spoilers here. So if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this.
Take 5 and then come back.
Yeah. I actually did love the movie. I thought it was probably one of my top 3 superhero movies of all time. I thought in the way that Christopher Reeve Superman Part 1 was the best origin beginning for a superhero movie I've ever seen. I felt like Logan and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was the best closing to a superhero movie I ever seen. It was just so complete. I thought how they wrapped it up. Were there some things that you did like about it, didn't like about it?
A couple things I did like is the fact that the X-24, his other clone, is the one that actually kills him. So in a sense, Logan is killed by himself. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was kind of cool.
Now, did you like the fact that it was because I spoke with just through texting with Jesse afterwards. I'm pretty sure it was Jesse that said this, but he didn't like the fact that it was it was a Hugh Jackman the double thing. Did you like that, or would you rather seen like this giant big guy that's this X-24 that is some huge creature makeup effect thing, or did you like the fact that Hugh, like you said, I guess, killed himself?
No, I think it's not as much as me wanting to see some cool new villain as much as that Logan is his own worst enemy, and he's basically immortal. Well, how's he going to die? Well, it's going to be by his own hand. It would almost have to be. I mean, that's sort of the symbolization of the bullet. Is that when I die, it's going to be because it's going to be at my own hand. Well, it really still was. But yet it wasn't, and I thought that was just some symbolism they did that I enjoyed. I liked X-23. I liked the character of Laura.
I was going to ask you what you thought of her.
That little girl knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, Daphne Keane is Laura.
She's by far the best part of the movie. By far, in my opinion. I liked Patrick Stewart's.
That was so different, wasn't it?
It was different.
Talk about a different Professor X, man.
Well, look at this. Regardless of whether you do or don't like the language, man, it fit that movie so well. And I'm thinking, if all of the Wolverine movies had been that way, I know it's a little crude, but that's the type of character that Logan is, And it was kind of funny to see Professor X sort of in his mental state just dropping F-bombs and stuff, I mean, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with this, and I thought it was pretty cool, because it gave it a little more of a realistic thing. The one thing I didn't like, though, and of course, James Mangold hit on this, it's not really, and I think Hugh Jackman did too, it's not really an X-Men movie, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
And I get that. It's not an X-Men movie, but what happened to them? What happened to everybody? Why are they all gone? And they don't really hit on that in the movie. And I want to know that,
Yeah.
Spend 2 minutes and tell me why they're gone.
And I think therein lies the problem that if they do that, I just wonder if 20th Century Fox, right, that did the movie, that does
Fox,
the Fox, if they wouldn't allow them to do that, because then you're basically saying eventually, even though it's not, I don't know, maybe it is in the same worlds or whatever.
But see, it's not, because the timeline they're in now, Logan doesn't take place in. From what I've read, Logan takes place in the original X-Men timeline. That's where it takes place, because you got to remember, it's just like the two different timelines. You have the original one that Logan takes place in, and then you have the alternate one that the new X-Men movies have been taking place in.
Yeah, I just think, and I agree, I see what you're saying, but I think that if they do that, you're putting an ending to the X-Men at some point, and even though, like, to fans like us, that's not going to bother us because we understand that there's timelines and yada yada, but to your casual movie person, you're like, wait, so they're going to die eventually, I mean, Professor X, because I got the sense that Professor X killed the X-Men because they said the incident that happened
at Westchester.
Westchester.
That must have been what happened. He must have killed everybody except for Logan, because for some reason it doesn't affect Logan like it does, probably because of his regenerative.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I felt like he's just constantly regenerating.
But that's the only thing we heard from it. So yeah, that's a good point. They did talk about the Westchester incident, so that must have been what it was.
Yeah, and because he even says, doesn't he say when he's laying in bed that I killed them all or something like that? When the X-24 comes into the bedroom, he's confessing, thinking that it's Hugh, and he's like, I maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he had said he was just laying there in bed because he's living with that, and I thought he had said I killed them or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, you might be right about that actually. So yeah, I guess that they do hit on to that point, but they don't really ever say what exactly.
Yeah, they don't specifically say, you're the reason the X-Men are dead. But back to the Daphne Keene, I thought she stole the movie. She did such a great job. She's just she's a good actress in the same way that the one little girl is in Stranger Things. But I thought she did a really good job. And the cool thing about it is, and now, they've left it open to an X-23 possibly movie later on down the road. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But I would want to see it. But I love the movie. I thought it was, like I said, it was one of my top 3 movies.
I think that even though it'd be a little bit different, I think that'd be an interesting way to introduce the New Mutants.
Yeah.
Have them as these young teenagers, and then you can bring in a guy like Cable, But the problem is it's too far in the future, so I don't know how they would actually pull that off. But I mean, it's still a possibility.
Yeah, I thought though, all in all though, it was a great ending for Hugh Jackman. I don't think we're going to see him ever playing Wolverine again.
No, I don't think we should.
Yeah, agreed. Because then you really take away from Logan, and I thought. I love the Wolverine that James Mangold did. I thought he did a really good job with that. But it's amazing how different the two movies were, and he took Logan in such a different direction. But it was also amazing to see when you just let the director do the movie that he wants to do,
what he can do with it. Yeah. DC and
yeah. So, but yeah, it's 92% on the Rotten Tomatoes. But if you haven't seen it and you're listening to this and you listen to all the spoilers, still go see it. Enjoy this movie while it's in the theater. Let me ask you a stupid question. Do you think he deserves an Oscar nod for that?
No.
No?
It wasn't on that level, I don't think.
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman's an excellent actor, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him nominated for an Oscar at some point in the next 5 or 10 years. He's going to do some things that'll be good, but he's going to have to break the stigma now of being, Wolverine.
Yeah.
And
ask Daniel Radcliffe about that.
Yeah, no joke. I mean, it's hard. I mean, to be such an iconic character, Some
look
people,
at Christopher Reeve.
Christopher
Reeve
Reeve.
was still haunted with it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I mean, he was a well-respected actor, stage actor.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart's one of the greatest stage actors of the 20th century, especially the latter half. But yet we know him as Captain Picard and Professor X.
When you hear Patrick Stewart, what do you think of first? Professor X or Captain
I
Picard?
think of Captain Picard
Good.
first.
Me too.
Yeah, of course, I mean, I like the old Next Generation shows and the movies. So,
Yeah,
I
I love
he's,
them.
He's Picard,
Yeah.
So.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie when they're driving down the road, and it was just so weird to see Professor X in that role of like a kid.
Yes.
In a way, and he did such a great job of it because we're so used to Professor X being, the teacher, the leader. The quiet leader, and it was great when they're driving down the road. And he's like, "Did you take your pills?" And he's like, "Show me." And he's like, "Bah!"
Yeah.
I just thought that was so great.
Yeah, because he's having to take care of him like an old ailing father now. I mean, that's actually who he is to him. He's his father.
Yeah.
They share so much together that he's the closest thing he knows to a father, for the most part.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite scene in the movie or scenes? While you're thinking, I'll tell you my two favorite. My one favorite is the hotel scene.
I was going to say the hotel scene was pretty cool.
That is cool how they did that.
Yes, and everybody's frozen. And then in the room, they're trying to move.
And the little girls even.
And she's even like trying to hand him the syringe.
I thought that was a really good scene. And probably my second favorite scene was when he's, going all roided up in the woods and he's last bit of energy.
This
and
is it.
Just, yeah. It was kind of like old school Wolverine in the movie.
Well, he knew this is it probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to die probably right here. Because if X-24 doesn't kill him, I'd say that stuff probably does.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I liked it also because it felt like I'm a big Westerns fan. I love Western movies. And it definitely had the, Western kind of the lone gunman, the stranger being gunned down. This is his last, he's done all these movies before. You could almost get the sense like it's like a Clint Eastwood character, the man with no name.
They definitely
character.
made it feel that way. And of course, I think they're watching what?
Shane.
They're watching Shane, on there. So, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they definitely wanted to have that sort of that Western vibe.
And seems like I don't know what other movies connected, but Unforgiven was a movie that they definitely wanted to relate
I could
to
see
that.
Yes.
And great movie though. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Joseph and I definitely approve of Logan. But continuing on with, I guess, something that's related to Logan, something we haven't seen yet, but it's definitely on my must-watch list before it gets out of the theaters. Kong Skull Island in the second week beat Logan. What do you think about that?
That's surprising, but I mean, obviously it's word of mouth has gotten people into the movie theater because I have heard good things about Kong Skull Island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not a huge Kong fan, so I'm not,
Yeah.
like wanting to go rush out and watch it like you are. But,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, hey, if they've made a good Kong movie, then great. I mean, we need stuff like that. And of course, that's Warner Brothers too, isn't it? I mean, don't they own the rights to that?
Does Warner Brothers do that? Really? I don't.
Or is it Paramount?
Maybe Paramount. I don't know. That's a good question. I should have looked that up. I'm really excited to see the movie. It's 70. I guess it's a 79 right now on the Rotten Tomatoes. I was really surprised that it beat Logan in the second week. Makes me wonder, because I thought Logan had staying potential at number one. Makes me wonder if the superhero thing's kind of wearing thin a little bit. Like people go, okay, I can just wait till this comes out.
Yeah, on video.
Yeah, on video. I'm really excited for it. I think it looks like the reviews I've read are really good. It's a popcorn movie,
Yeah.
but well done popcorn movie.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that Tom Hiddleston almost plays the female. Like, in the old ones where the Kong takes the female as his slave. I heard that Hiddleston becomes that in this, but I don't know if it's true or not.
Really? Because I know that in the one preview it.
That's kind of how I took it. Brie Larson isn't that character. They've made Tom Hiddleston that. Right?
And in the one scene that I've seen, that Brie Larson was kind of rubbing his face or going for his hand or something.
Yeah,
so that's interesting. I don't know
if it's true or not, but I read like a tweet or something like that, and it sort of hinted to that. And I'm like, really? Without being a spoiler,
Maybe Kong's a a girl and she's digging on Tom.
Could be. I don't know.
Taylor Swift, now Kong. Poor Tom, he can't.
I'm going to love him and kiss him and call him George.
Rubbing his head.
Yeah.
All right, so Kong Skull Island beats Logan, which was a big surprise. It got $61 million this weekend to Logan's $38 million. Interesting to me that Logan takes a huge dip financially, and yet, Batman versus Superman took a huge dip, but nobody talked to compare the difference. I mean, Logan went from, how much did they get in that first week? It was
$100-something million.
Yeah, to $38 million.
Yeah.
And Kong just did 61. That's not, don't get me wrong, that's really good for March, I guess, but I don't know. I just thought that was interesting that nobody's hammering Logan for that. I think it's just people aren't going to the movies. They're waiting for blockbusters,
Yes.
and they're not just going to see anything now, which back in the day, you go, oh, that movie looks pretty good, let's go watch it.
Everybody's watching pirated videos now.
Yeah, that's true too. That's a good point. So moving along with Kong Skull Island, this weekend the movie that's coming out is Beauty and the Beast, and we just talk about that for a second. Beauty and the Beast right now on Rotten Tomatoes critics rating is at 67%, which I thought was pretty interesting considering The Jungle Book was at 95%. Even Cinderella, which I still haven't seen yet, is at 85%. Do you think this is a bad start for Beauty and the Beast? Do you want to have that big that score up there pretty high before you get started on your weekend?
Well, it is surprising, especially since their next big movie they're planning is Aladdin. At least that's what I've read.
Oh, really? I've not even heard that.
To do this, going to start shooting it this summer, actually.
Wow.
Because I read, I think today maybe.
Man, what are they going to do for Genie though?
I know that's going to be the problem. But they'll figure it out. They'll find someone that can pull it off and make it right.
Who would you think would step in and? I know that's tough. I put you on the spot on that one, but
you could pull somebody new in, somebody funny. They don't have to necessarily be the Robin Williams type character.
Do you go with that Robin Williams direction though? That crazy.
You can still do that, but not be Robin Williams. Maybe like a James Corden type character or someone like that. Someone who can do a multitude of things, but yet still is someone who people know today.
It'd be so hard. Be so hard for anybody to make that their own character because Robin Williams made Aladdin.
And the issue with Aladdin too is that they're going to want to use Middle Eastern actors, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
It should be. But who are they going to get that we know? I don't know. You know what I mean? Unless they go with someone who's not necessarily Middle Eastern, but maybe go with which she's probably too old, but like a Indian like Priyanka Chopra. She could pull off, being the princess. But I think she's too old because she's like in her 30s, So you're going to want someone in their early 20s probably.
Yeah. And I'll say this, though. The Jungle Book did a good job with the one kid who played Mowgli.
Which he was a relatively unknown.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, Guy Ritchie is actually directing Aladdin.
What?
Yes. But now let's be honest now for a second. I love Guy Ritchie's movies. If you stop and think about it, he does Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes Book of Shadows, or not Book of Shadows, but whatever it's called, the second one.
I've still never seen the Sherlock Holmes movies.
What? Oh, they're great, man. They're fun movies, man. They are fun movies.
Yeah, I've heard they are.
And the trailers for King Arthur, as down as I was about that, the last trailer they put out a couple weeks ago looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see this now being something. And
is that your favorite? Let me ask you something. Is that one of your favorite? That's my favorite fantasy story in the past. Do you have any that are up there?
I like that, but also, I'm a big fan of Robin Hood if it's done right, which I know they're going to do that too.
Did you ever like Kevin Costner's Robin Hood?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what it is, and it was that early 90s, late 80s, early 90s movie where it's sort of poppy and all that, and he's not British, so
yeah, Kevin Costner's
he halfway tried to do a British accent,
It was like one scene it was Bull Durham, and the next scene it was Robin of Locksley.
But I still enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah, same here. And you know who really stole the movie was Alan Rickman.
Oh, absolutely, Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
If you're gonna get anybody to play the ultimate bad guy in the Robin movies, you get like Hans Gruber.
Yes,
from
exactly.
Die Hard.
But that was before. Well, he had already been Hans Gruber.
Yeah, he'd already been Hans.
But yeah, I mean, and I even enjoyed Robin Hood. That Ridley Scott did with Russell Crowe.
I never seen that with Kate Blanchett.
Yeah,
right?
Kate Blanchett plays
Crowe.
the Maid Marian, and what's his name? Oscar Isaacs plays the Prince.
Really?
Yeah, Prince John. So yeah, I mean, it was a good movie.
I'll have to watch that. Yeah, Robin Hood's definitely another one of my favorite fantasy stories from the past.
Because it's one of those things. Is it fantasy or is it real? Because they both have basis in reality, but yet the stories that have been told over the years have become more fantasy. So that's why I think I like both of those. But I love, as cheesy as it was, I loved First Night. I thought First Night was a good movie with
Sean Connery, Richard Gere.
With Sean Connery. I mean,
Lancelot.
You will not touch my lady.
My sword.
Get your hand off my sword.
My sword and my lady.
Don't make me throw it in the lake again.
Got to rinse it off. But no, First Night was pretty good. I didn't have no problems with it. I thought it was a pretty good.
It is what it is.
Story. A lot of people hate on it and such, but I love King Arthur. I thought it was a different way to tell the story. But I love the Knights of the Round Table. Every actor that they got, from Mads Mikkelsen to Clive Owen to what's his name from Fantastic Four, who played
Ian
Gruffold.
Yeah, Gruffold. Yeah.
And there's a couple others, and I can't think of their names right now.
Actually, even the other King Arthur movie that had Clive Owen in it.
That's the one I was talking about.
That's right. Yeah, what was I thinking? Who's in First Night that is someone who was one of the Knights of the Round Table? Oh, the villain. What's his name? I can't remember what they called him. But anyway, never mind. Moving on.
No, it's cool. But I like that movie. Now, I am not a Keira Knightley fan, so I felt like her thing wasn't really that. I took away from the story, but I thought that movie was pretty good. So, but anyways, I guess we'll wait and see. Boy, we really got off Beauty and the Beast.
Well, I mean, I'm probably not going to go to the theater and watch Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, we'll probably go see it this weekend. I thought Emma Watson being cast as Belle was like a perfect casting. I hope the Beast doesn't look too CGI-ish.
I'm a little skeptical of that.
I know, because I've seen
trailers.
I've seen more trailers now, and I go, oh, it does look a little more. I was like, honestly, like the animals in Jungle Book look better than what the Beast does. Why didn't you just get that same guy? Because those animals in the Jungle Book were freaking awesome when they were talking and stuff.
And I think Dan Stevens, I have grown to become a fan of Dan Stevens because he's playing, the Beast. I'm
a fan of Luke Evans playing Gaston. Like, Gaston's my favorite character in Beauty and the Beast, so I'm really excited to see what Luke Evans is. Because to me, he is such an underrated actor, and I'm happy for him to get the opportunity to be in a big movie.
What I've seen Dan Stevens do in Legion over the past month makes me think he's one of the better up-and-coming actors there is, period. And I know he was he played like Matthew or something on Downton Abbey. So a lot of you Downton Abbey fans will know him from that.
Did you ever watch that?
No, I never watched it.
I never did either.
I heard it was a great show, but I've just never watched it.
But once you get like 8 seasons behind, it's like,
Yeah, it's like, man, I can't jump into it now, what am I geez, I already know.
I know. I feel the same way when people tell me, oh, you got to watch, like, let's say, for example, Criminal Minds. Let's just throw that out there.
Man, it's been out for 10 seasons.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've had people, you got to watch it on Netflix. I'm like, no, man. I mean, I'm not going to dedicate the next month and a half to Criminal Minds. Now, if we're in season 2 of something,
then let's jump in and give it a go.
I'll catch up by the end of the weekend.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it always kills me when people are like, oh, do this. And it's like, no, I'm 13 seasons behind. So moving on, let's talk about. I've got a couple of different subjects here. Let's talk about something that was a hot topic that you threw out there the other day, the Matrix reboot. So, opinions. What do you think?
Well, I think it's stupid. I mean, I'm okay with, like, some of our fans have mentioned on Facebook, like with Adrian and Sean, that, if it's a continuation, I think someone else did too, but I don't remember who it was because I just glanced at it. But I've had several people talk about it, so we appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we do it, actually, is to get people involved. But that being said, if they make it like a continuation of the story, then I'm cool with that. Maybe having a new The One, because they obviously leave that open, as it reboots itself, and it starts over again at the end of the third one. But just to totally reboot the whole series, why? I mean, why? We're not even 20 years old yet. This movie's only 20 years old. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Jennifer Griffin West, who was a friend of mine from school.
Jennifer, yeah.
And go. Eric Mason. Eric was WTF. Yeah, but is this a sign for the movie studios that we're running out of ideals here?
Warner Brothers desperate. I mean, because they realize that they can't make a good superhero movie, I guess, and that they're probably going to lose billions of dollars or millions anyway, on these next few superhero movies. Because as cool, and I know we're going to touch on this later, but as cool as the new Wonder Woman trailer looks, I've heard the movie's not that great. And that's just such a downer, man. And I'm not even a Wonder Woman fan, but yet it's like, why can't you just make a good movie? It don't have to be great. You don't have to be excellent. You don't have to be really good. Just make a good movie. And it's like we can't do that. Why? I mean, I wish I could just buy Warner Brothers and fire everybody and be like, we're going to do this crap this way, and we're going to actually make good movies.
Oh, and by the way, Aquaman's been pushed back 2 more months now. It's from October of next year to December of next year.
I mean, I've gotten to where I'm not even excited for these movies anymore because it's like, oh gosh,
Yeah, but that's our fault in a way because we're constantly keeping up with it on the internet, man. We put our own self, we dig our own graves, but we can't help it because we're such fans. We want to know what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder if sometimes if we were better off just to unplug.
Yeah.
And just watch it.
Yeah, just go and watch it and be like, oh, that was good.
Do you think the internet has an influence on how we feel as far as a fan base?
The internet controls everything. I mean, it controls every aspect of our life today. Don't you feel naked if you don't have your phone?
No, because I'm pretty good with, like, at work, I don't even...
But see, I'm at work, I can have my phone all day.
Yeah.
So if I don't have my phone, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's like walking out of the house without any pants on. I mean, it is. It's like, I mean, I've come in here, I'm like, oh my gosh, my phone's only got 8%.
I'm like, no, you got your phone, Joey. You forgot your pants.
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I just wonder, though, if we didn't have Rotten Tomatoes, if we didn't have Facebook, if we didn't have all these websites now that tell us Aquaman's been pushed back, Wonder Woman's not looking too good on early reviews, like, could we just go into it with a different... I just think movies have such a huge standard to live by now compared to, like, 1992. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it's just amazing that, how the internet has such a huge influence on how we are as a fan base. And, I mean, look, because of the internet, we have people that are cool enough to listen to our thoughts and stuff on movies and TVs and such, but... hopefully, like, look, we recommend movies and TVs, but honestly, like, at the end of the day, it's all about your opinion. And, but yeah, I've not heard that about Wonder Woman. That scares me because I'm really excited for the movie.
I've read it.
And, but back to the Matrix reboot. Wow, we went man, I've got to keep us on track a little better than that. Matrix reboot. I'll say this. Keanu Reeves was asked, recently in an interview if he'd be willing to do another Matrix, and he said only if the Wachowski sisters would write and direct it, and even then he'd still want to see the story. But me personally, man, why do something? You number one, you shouldn't even have had a part 2 and part 3. You should have just left it at 1, in my opinion. I remember when I went to the theater to watch Matrix Reloaded, because Revolutions is 3, I believe. I went to the theater to see Matrix Reloaded, and I sat there. And even like when we come on the orgy cave scene,
yes,
I was like, what is this? Is this the Matrix, man? And I was just so disappointed. I went to the movies with a buddy of mine.
That's what happens when you let a director do what they want to as well.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. They gave the Wachowskis too much room, and I think a lot of personal stuff came through that.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, we know that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, The Matrix is a completely different movie if you look at part 2 and part 3. Now, as we've said before, like, The Matrix Reloaded, the whole highway scene's amazing. But honestly, other than that, I'm okay if I never see part 2 and part 3 again.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just don't know why would you want to mess with this unless you're just running out of ideals. You have no ideal, but let's just go to something that has been successful and let's just do another one. And man, that just shows such a lack of vision. And man, surely there's got to be some creative writers out there that can write something, or maybe it's just the studios that are scared to death to try something, you know.
Well, it's got to be a home run anymore, man. Whenever they put something on film and in the theater, that's what they want it to be. Especially if they're going to put a couple $100 million into something, it better be a home run because they don't just spend $200 million on the movie; they also spend another $500 million on advertising. So if it don't gross $800 million, it's a failure.
Question: they do a Matrix reboot. Excuse me. They do a Matrix reboot. Keanu Reeves comes back. He's the Morpheus type. Would you be interested?
No, because I mean it's one of those things like it's like saying, "Oh, let's just redo Gone with the Wind." I would be more okay with that because
they even did a sequel to Gone with the Wind, which was like horrible.
It was horrible, yeah. But I mean, like Return to Terra or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But I mean, but seriously, I mean, I'm not saying that The Matrix is Gone with the Wind, but for nerdy fans,
no, it is for sci-fi fans.
For sci-fi fans, it's Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. There were some people that say no, Gone with the Wind's nothing like The Matrix because The Matrix is way better.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about in terms of film history.
Right, I understand. But if you look at The Matrix,
it changed film.
Yes, it did.
It changed
Bullet
film.
time. Bullet time changed.
They showed what you can do with computer graphics, just like Wrath of Khan showed what you could do with computer graphics. And then, later on, you had some other movies that sort of took on that. But really, you didn't see a huge jump other than maybe like Armageddon and Independence Day and stuff like that. But then when you see The Matrix and how fluid and how natural the special effects are that is entirely computer generated, okay?
Yeah. I would say probably the three.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you mentioned that. Let's talk about that for a second. The three movies that were jaw-dropping to me, right off the top of my head, that I can think of: Jurassic Park.
Yes.
The Matrix.
Yeah.
What did the other one I have? What's the other one? Because you were just talking about it. Or your
Independence Day.
Independence Day, thank you. That's it. Because nobody had ever seen like all these places being blown to pieces, and it looked legitimate.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to the theater and seeing Independence Day. I was like, oh crap, that looks like when the White House blows up. You're like, oh freak, like this is awesome.
They really blew it up, man. It looks real.
I know, it looks really cool. So those are three movies I think of in my lifetime that, in my opinion, that were mind blowing to me as far as took it to the next level. I mean,
absolutely.
Even to this day, Jurassic Park, man, is on a whole nother level, man.
It still holds up.
It is so amazing.
It's because they did real stuff, man.
Yeah.
They really made the top half of a T-Rex, and they made the leg to step,
Yeah, and the raptors and stuff like that.
I mean, they made it to look real. And yeah, it costs a lot of money, but it takes a lot of talent to do that too. Those guys don't exist anymore, really.
Yeah.
That was Harry Winston, I think, that made all those animatronics, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, Harry Winston was the guy you went to for anything like that in Hollywood. And I'm pretty sure Harry Winston is the guy who made or helped develop the animatronics for Jurassic Park. So, I mean, and no, Disney didn't help him or nothing like that, because Disney at the time didn't have nothing to do with that. I think maybe Industrial Light and Magic had some stuff to do with it as well. But other than that, it was all like real stuff that they had made to work, so that's cool.
Yeah, I would probably say, I think on my list, I would put Jurassic Park and The Matrix. The two movies, I think, of our generation that took movies to the next level. Or that held people accountable, man. Like, if you're going to do a dinosaur movie, you better do it right after you watch Jurassic Park.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do a sci-fi movie, like a futuristic thing with great action, you better bring it after The Matrix, know. And so many people tried to do that bullet time crap, and it looked horrible, and it was stupid, and it was not fit for the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, no, The Matrix, man, the Wachowski brothers at the time, man, they just nailed that movie. I'm so disappointed I never saw it in theaters. I waited till it came out.
I know, me too. Because I didn't know.
I know.
I was like, what is this?
They
The
said
Matrix.
It came out in 1999, March 31st of 1999, and I just thought,
I probably didn't watch it till it came out on video that fall or something like that. I mean, I really didn't.
On VHS?
Probably still on VHS, yeah. I think I used to have the VHS of The Matrix.
I did watch that on DVD. That was because I was like, oh, this is a movie you're probably going to have to watch on DVD.
Oh, this is a DVD movie.
That's right. We're going to go spend $30 on this DVD because back then, DVDs were like Blu-rays now. And even Blu-rays are turning into cheap DVDs, like $5 Blu-rays.
Well, now they release everything digitally 2 weeks before it comes out on Blu-ray.
I know. It's just, you watch and see, man. Sooner or later, Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah. There will be nothing tangible in the world anymore.
Nope. That's scary. Oh, back to the Matrix reboot, somebody that's associated with the time is Zach Penn. Did you know he sold his first script at 23, and that script was Last Action Hero?
I was just thinking of Last Action Hero when you were talking about movies and stuff like that, and
that took it to the next level.
When you were talking about 92, 93 era.
Oh, yeah.
Take Last Action Hero, and I don't get off subject just for a second.
No, that's fine.
Take Last Action Hero, okay? Yeah, I enjoyed the movie back then. It was a big summer blockbuster, but in today's world, would Last Action Hero be a hit? Think about it for a second, how cheesy that movie
No,
was.
because it'd have John Cena in it and playing that character. No, because now you're going to get me on a separate subject now because I feel like we have no more action heroes.
No, we don't. The Rock is the closest thing to an action hero we got.
And I'm done with that. Like he's kind of worn out his welcome on action movies because it's like, oh, Rock's in it, another same generic. He's turning into Arnold Schwarzenegger in the later years now, and some of the stuff he's doing now. It's all the cheesy lines and stuff like that. But like, I feel like the movies have messed up right now because you not put an action star out there. I mean, back in the day, man, it was Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, those were the guys, dude. That was the trifecta of action heroes. And there's nobody.
The closest thing today that we have to an action hero, true action hero, is Tom Cruise. Because almost every movie he makes is an action movie.
Yeah.
And they're always pretty good, whether it's the Jack Reacher movies or whether it's the Mission Impossible movies or whether it's The Mummy coming up. Was it this year, I think?
I know. I forgot about The Mummy already.
And you know what? I thought the trailer was excellent for The Mummy. I mean, I was like, oh, wow, that looks pretty cool. Yeah. A lot better than I thought it would, So, I mean, he's the closest thing we have to an action star.
Yeah.
And he's 55 years old or something like that.
Yeah. And then the next level of action stars, then you got to start. Then you say the superhero movies like Robert Downey Jr. I mean.
But they're not really action.
I know, but that's this generation's.
Speaking of which, we should touch on this real quick because I don't think we were going to talk about it. Did you see where Chris Evans is done after Avengers 4?
Really?
He's done. He's already said, this is it. That's into my contract. I'm moving on from Captain America. So, just to let y'all know that, I did read that yesterday. So.
Wow. So, we've had 3 Avengers already, right? Or 2?
No, 2 Avengers.
Okay.
Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron. And then we're going to have 2 more.
Okay, because see, I keep thinking
but they're back
that
to back.
Civil War is an Avengers movie.
Though.
I know. I keep forgetting that.
Well, it was in disguise. I mean,
yeah, it was a cheap way to get everybody in the movie. But yeah, so Matrix reboot, we both agree that they need to not touch that and leave it alone. Like I said, it's interesting too. They said Joel Silver, who was a big producer for it, and yada yada. He sold all of his rights to it in 2012.
Yeah,
so
like $38 million or something like that.
Can you imagine that, dude? Like, number one, I don't even know what the difference between 1 million and 3 million is, other than numbers. Like, I don't see how at some point when you go, well, I made 14 million last year, but I'm down to 12 million this year. I don't get that. It's funny to me but like, it's amazing that you just sell it off, like, for money, dude. Like, that goes to show. Like,
well, George Lucas did.
I know. Don't even get me started on that, dude. I mean, more power to him. So Matrix reboot, we say blah, as Patrick Stewart from Logan. Blah. So we just talked about the Wonder Woman trailer. How the trailer looks really good, but and I hope Chris Pine does good in it too, because he cannot get a break, man.
I think Chris Pine might be the best part of the movie because he's almost like the comedic relief, I believe, in this. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe he'll actually be good as Steve Trevor in this.
Yeah, I hope he does good. You know, he still doesn't get the respect he deserves for Star Trek because he does such a great job.
No, he doesn't, man. And I mean, he was so good in this last Star Trek movie.
Yeah, it was the best one.
It was the best one that he had done. You know,
I mean, the best new ones out of the three that they've done together. I felt like they're just getting better, which is a good thing for Star Trek.
A good thing. Well, it's because they got somebody who actually cares about Star Trek now behind it.
Well, since we're on the Star Trek subject, I posted, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, about how Jason Isaacs is going to be one of the captains on the ship. And that's interesting because I had heard that Sasha from The Walking Dead was going to be a captain. What's going on with that?
She's playing a lieutenant commander, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
Because, see, I'd heard she was going to be the first African-American female.
Well, she's still going to be in command of a ship, though. See, what you're seeing is not the casting of just all one ship. There's going to be a couple ships. Discovery's the main ship.
See, I'm assuming they're just going to be all on the same ship.
I think that she's the commander, lieutenant commander of the ship. You can be a lieutenant commander and run a ship, you know.
Yeah.
And Discovery's not one of the big ships of the fleet, so to speak. I mean, look at Worf, you know, and later on in the Star Trek movies, you know, I mean, in like First Contact, he's got the little, he's the captain, but he's not a captain. He's just still
lieutenant commander.
He's still a lieutenant commander, you know.
Yeah, I thought that was a good casting, though, Jason Isaacs. I think he's a really underrated guy, too. And I think, let's just hop on Walking Dead here for a second. Well, we got to see, Sasha's dying soon, right?
I believe Sasha dies by the season's end this year. I really that's my gut feeling. I was talking about that with a friend yesterday. I believe that she's done for as far as this year because of where they're going with the show right now and then wanting to, you know, storm the compound and do a suicide mission just to kill Negan. I mean, what's wrong with these women? Why are they being so stupid? I mean, it's like, I know that your boy got killed and everything. Was Abraham that good? I mean, geez. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just almost too unbelievable that they just want to do that by themselves. You know, and what's her name is just driving me crazy.
Rosita? I'm done with her, dude.
It's like, man, I hope she gets killed too.
I know, dude. I'm ready for her to die on that show.
You are stupid, you know. I mean, to want to go and just kill these guys.
I mean, really enjoyed her character before this, and now she's annoying to me, man. Like, she doesn't play it good. Like, I'm just sick of it. It's just like, you're horrible at this. Like, she's much better as like a supporting character rather than that anti, you know, hero or whatever that she's trying to be right now. She's just plumb annoying, man. Let's see, anything else on the news? Game of Thrones season 7. We're getting closer.
We're getting closer, man, and I'm getting excited.
Yeah. The trailer was,
well,
yeah, I know, but still, it's something.
It was something, yeah. I mean, it looked cool, you know. I mean, the meaning behind it is that it's going to be all out war in Westeros. That's why it shows every house, you know, because they're all going to be at war with each other. And I think they're all going to have to band together to fight the White Walkers.
Was this last season your favorite season so far?
Yeah, it was so far, yeah.
Yeah, really I thought so too. I thought in a lot of ways they've gotten... Now, season 2 is my least favorite season. It's just like porn is all season 2 was. I felt like HBO was just like, oh, okay, let's just capitalize on nudity. And then finally, like, I think, you know, the females, like, leads were like, okay, this is kind of enough. Especially, you know, what's her name?
I'm okay with the nudity and doing that's fine. But, yeah, it doesn't need to be every episode and half the episode, you know. I mean, I agree with that.
Well, you can tell they finally said, okay, let's just focus on... We don't have to do that now. We can actually have...
Yeah, well, they were amazed that Amelia Clark was even agreeing to, you know, get naked again.
Yeah,
but it's because she said, because you guys haven't made me do it.
Yeah.
So I now think for my character,
well, you can justify the nudity now.
I'm walking out of a fire.
Right.
Exactly. Of course, I would be naked. You know, I mean, so yeah, absolutely. But it's not showing her off as a piece of like property or something, you know. Like
yeah, because those first few seasons.
Yeah, man, they were rough on her, especially.
Yeah. Drago was.
Yeah. That's all we'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, really excited for Game of Thrones season 7. Can't wait to start talking about that again when it starts. When's the date?
July 7th or something like that.
Okay, awesome. And that'll only be half, right? Like.
Well, there's going to be, I think this is
a part 1 and a part 2, correct, of the season 7? Or are they doing a full season 7 and that's it?
Well, I think season 7 is like 8 episodes and next year's like 6 episodes, I believe.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's still not really a half and half. It's just going to be, you know, shorter seasons.
Last thing I'll throw out there. I'm sorry, what?
I was just gonna say they can put more money into the episodes they got.
So. Yeah, sure. Do you think they'll ever do like spin-offs to Game of Thrones?
There's talks of doing a prequel to it from several hundred years in before everybody we know.
Save it for after it's over, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to focus on the Targaryens actually taking over Westeros, but it's like several hundred years before.
I'd love to see one with Ned and stuff again. You know.
Oh, I would too, man.
Just to bring Sean Bean back.
I would
too,
but I just guess they won't go that far. So.
Yeah, that's true. Last thing I'll mention: Iron Fist debuts tomorrow on Netflix. Not good reviews.
No, that's what I've heard too. I probably won't even watch Iron Fist.
I've heard it's the Ringo of the.
I wasn't excited about it 2 years ago when they announced it. I'm like, Iron Fist, I mean, like, why?
Like I had mentioned to you beforehand, I've heard it's not as much the story. I've heard it's just the actor that's just not really carrying it. Because, I mean, if you look, now, I didn't like Jessica Jones, but I love Luke Cage and Daredevil because I thought those guys both did such a great job.
See, I enjoyed Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it was just too deep and psychological for me, and I was just like, I just want a superhero movie. I get it. She did, I'm sure I get all that, but sometimes there's some comics I like and there's some comics I don't like, and that's probably a comic I just don't think I would like. And like I said, I tried watching the first 2 episodes and I was like, okay, I'm not getting into this. Other than that, you're
gonna start committing, man. Giving up on 2 episodes. Don't be a quitter.
Because
it got better as the season went
because
on.
both episodes, the whole time I was just like, I'm not interested in their character.
She got so much better as the season went on. Especially when you got more Luke Cage involved with it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Supergirl and the Flash musical episode, you gonna... Logan. We need to have a sound effect where we have to pay.
I mean, I don't even watch them to begin with, but I mean, I don't watch either one of them to begin with. But
yeah, I've not watched any Supergirl. I used to watch the Flash first couple seasons, and then it just got too bubblegummy for me. And
there's only been one Smallville. I don't want to watch Smallville ripoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. That being said, guys, Joseph, is there anything you'd like to mention before we go?
Yeah, what was I thinking of just a second ago that I was wanting to talk about? Dang it, man. It seems like there was something I was wanting to go into, and then we kept rolling there. Again, I'll mention this, guys, if you haven't watched Legion, absolutely sit down and watch Legion. It will blow your mind. And it's sort of that psychological thing, but I've been interested from the beginning. And it's nothing like anything you've ever seen before on television when it comes to superheroes. It is so fascinating. It's almost on the cusp of being a psychological thriller.
Is it like a 7 of superhero TV shows?
You could see that. Yeah, I mean, it's such a...
Or maybe not 7, let's say The Following. Isn't The Following with Kevin Bacon? That's kind of like a psychological crime.
It's different from that. This is such a psychedelic. Like I said, you don't know what's going on half the time, but yet it's cool because it keeps you guessing. And, I think they're doing 7 episodes first season, which next week will be the last episode. Of course, I'm back on the Americans again. Woohoo, they're back, so I'm happy for that too.
Kerry Russell, Felicity, still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there, looking good too. Looking good at 45 years old or whatever she is.
Easy.
I know. Well, but that's just a couple shows I've been watching here lately. What was we going to talk about? The Walking Dead. Yeah, we didn't really get into The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it was just, I felt like the past 2 weeks have been kind of blah to me. Now I missed this last episode. I haven't watched it yet. Do you think Eugene's playing them?
Yeah, but we didn't see nothing this past week about that. But yeah, absolutely, I think Eugene, because we know that I've already spoiled it that Dwight's going to be, become more of, he's going to be against Negan at some point.
He's going to be the Negan of the Saviors at some point, right? In the comics, he
turns against Negan.
I thought the Saviors turn on Negan.
No, it's just Dwight actually. Dwight actually kind of ends up helping Rick and them because of what they did to his wife.
I know some people are kind of tired of his character that I've talked to. I think Dwight's character is awesome. I think he does.
How are they tired of him? He's not even in it hardly. I mean,
yeah, I think it's because it's the whole against Daryl and yada yada thing.
Oh well.
But I think his character is awesome, man. I think he does a great job of it. And I'll share this story real quick about the guy who plays Dwight, and I cannot remember his name. But last year, when Nicole and I went to Walker Stalker Con, I was going around asking if people would say hello to the Nerdy Harry channel, and some were like, yeah, we're very open to it, and we're really cool about it, especially the guys of Gotham. and there was a few Walking Dead, like Jesse, Rick's old lady chick. And but anyways, I went up to the guy who plays Dwight, and I asked the volunteer who was at the front line. There was nobody there at the moment. This is before Dwight's character really took off. And I said, hey, could I ask him if he would say something? Austin something, I think.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but yeah.
But it said, hey, could he say something to my, we got a little small podcast channel. Could he say something to it? And they're like, you would have to ask his representative. Now, he's sitting right there, and his representative's right there. So I was like, this is going to be really stupid that I have to go ask her instead of him when he's sitting right there.
That's what they get paid for.
Yeah, exactly. So I walk up, and he's looking at me, and he's listening to the conversation. I was like, yeah, is there any way he could possibly say something to a podcast that I'm on, just even if it's like, hi, you're watching my channel. And she's like, no, I'm sorry, he can't, do anything like that. I'm sorry. And he's like, hey man, and he's like, what do you needing? And I was like, yeah, could you just say something to our small little podcast? He goes, yeah, go ahead and get ready, fam. I got something for you. And so that's when he said, hi, Daryl, and he pulls up the gun, And I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah,
that
he goes in character.
Yeah, he goes in character, and he jumped over his agent
because
there.
it's like, look, my character's about to blow up on this show.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to do something
exactly.
like this?
Why would you not want to
If they have
interact?
200 fans like we do, why wouldn't I want to connect with those 200 fans? Speaking of Jesse, for fans of Alexandra Breckenridge out there, if you don't watch the show, I don't watch it either, but my sister is a huge fan of the new show This Is Us on NBC.
Yeah, I've heard that's supposed to be a really good
It's
show.
like the big new hit
Yeah.
on NBC.
Is that the Mandy Moore?
Yeah, Mandy Moore
and
Milo, whatever his name is.
Ventimiglia?
Yeah. But Alexandra Breckenridge is probably going to become a series regular next year.
Really? Good for her, man.
She's going to be the guy who played Justin Hartley. He used to play, he was the Green Arrow in Smallville. He was Oliver Queen. He's going to play like her ex. They're like married or something, but now they're back together. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. Good for her on doing that.
So there you go.
And she was really awesome about doing it for the Nerdy Harry channel.
She was by far probably the best of everybody. Other
Yeah.
than the guy who plays in Gotham, he was pretty cool too.
Yeah, because Bruce Wayne, little kid David.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hi, you're watching it," and I thought, "Oh, that's so awesome, dude! Thank you." Because his representative was very like, it's really up to him, if he wants to do that. And I was like, hey, man, and it's so awkward because everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
And the thing that I appreciated so much about Dwight doing is there was nobody in line. I'm like, really, lady? Like, there's nobody here. And he was like, hey, man. He's like, what are you needing? And
Yeah.
And so
like this dude, I'd be like, this dude took 5 minutes out of his day.
Exactly.
And paid money to
Yeah.
come talk to me.
Yeah. And now, like, I'm a fan of him just because I know he's a good dude.
Hey, me too. I wasn't there, but just because he did that for us, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for Dwight, man. I'm rooting for Dwight. If you're listening, I'm rooting for you.
I
brother.
hope you kill Daryl now, just because of what you've done.
I don't think Dwight will kill Daryl, but I still
don't
think
so
that Daryl's dying in the next, either this year or early next year. I still see it coming for some reason.
Yeah, you talk about making him a bad guy. You want to put him over the top of beating Negan as a bad guy?
Yeah.
That'd be one way to do it right there.
Oh,
if he killed Daryl. One thing I was going to ask you, hey, we're on the air here. Somebody asked, have you ever seen The Colony?
No, I know what you're talking about on Sci-Fi.
Because it's got Sawyer from Lost, and then it's got Rick's wife.
I have seen like bits and pieces, but I never sat and watched it. I know it's pretty popular. And another show that Sci-Fi's got now that is
The Magicians?
No, The Expanse is like got a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's like blows people away. I guess they said it's kind of like Game of Thrones, but in outer space. And I'm like,
is that got Tyrese from The Walking Dead in it?
Maybe I think he might be in it. I've not watched it, but
I think I've seen him in a commercial because we watch Face Off, which, by the way, if you're not watching, Joey pushes Legion because he loves that show. I'm going to push Face Off because I love Face Off on Sci-Fi.
I mean, I've watched it before, but it's not something I sit down and watch. But yeah, it's a good show when I've watched it.
I think it's good for kids and creativity and things like that. Now, I'm not a big reality show fan, but that is a reality show.
It's like what we were talking about earlier about how no one does anything like that anymore. So that's cool. That's a lost art form.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly right. Exactly right. And CGI is killing a lot of their jobs, So I think it's cool that they have a show dedicated to those people. Did you remember what you wanted to talk about?
That was it, Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, cool.
Not Game of Thrones, but Walking Dead.
Dead.
But I know you haven't watched this week's episode, so we won't get into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I ruined that.
He ruined it. He ruined it. Anthony sucks.
Wah, wah.
So everybody let him know what you really...
That's our patch. That's our thing for the week.
We'll talk about The Walking Dead at the end of the season, I guess. So, after I've forgotten half of what's happening.
How many episodes do we have?
Like 4, maybe, probably.
Wow.
Because we're already 3 episodes into the second half, and these do like 6.
I thought
or
we're
7.
4 episodes.
Maybe we are 4 episodes in.
I think because
this past Sunday was a pretty good episode.
I already read what happened.
Yeah. Well, okay, then let's talk about it for a second then.
Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan killing again.
Richard, right?
Yeah, Richard. Which Richard deserved to die. I was glad that he did that. And also Carol.
He was a ticking time bomb, man.
Carol finally, because Morgan told Carol actually what happened to Glenn and Abraham, and so she says, heck, so they actually switched spots.
Yeah.
Morgan stays at her house, and she goes back to the kingdom and tells King Ezekiel, we got to fight. And he goes, yes, I do, but not today. And so.
See, I didn't know. I knew that Carol stepped up, but I didn't know that Ezekiel said that.
Yes, he says, yes, I know, but not today. Because they're planning. His garden got overrun by like some weevils or something, so they had to burn it off so it didn't damage the rest of their crops. In the kingdom there, and so he's replanting it.
It's weird, not to get off the Walking Desert, but you mentioned weevils. This is the second time I've heard weevils in the past 24 hours because we were watching Master and Commander last night.
Okay, yes, okay, that's a good movie.
And he's talking about a story that he said when his original commander, and he said, I always pick the lesser of 2 weevils when he asked the doctor about which one would you choose, and he's like, well, it's like that one. There you go.
The lesser of the 2 weevils.
Yeah. Which my boys loved that. They had never seen it, so I was like, let's sit down and watch it. This is a good historical movie.
It's a great movie, man.
And so not in because it didn't happen, right? Or is that like made up?
No, that's based off of sort of like that's like sort of based off a true story. Yeah,
I thought it was based off 2 different stories.
Well, it's not like
I know it was during the Napoleon Bonaparte time period.
It's not like 100% fact or nothing, but stuff like that happened.
That was a great, such an underrated movie, such a good a war movie. When they have to cut the boy's arm off. Oh man, my oldest boy had to turn around. He's like, Dad, he's like, do I want to see this? I'm like, they're not going to show it, but you feel his pain.
You feel his pain, man, when they're having to cut it off. They're putting that stick in his mouth, and that's all you got to stick.
I know.
But we're going to cut your arm off, and it's going to take about 20 minutes.
Such a great movie, man. So highly recommend that if you have never seen Master and Commander with Russell Crowe. Watch it.
Also, because we haven't talked before we go here, because I know we're running short on time here. Also, fans of Ken Burns, documentary filmmaker,
baseball,
the Civil War, baseball, jazz. His new documentary comes out this fall. If you're not aware of that, and this September, it's going to be a 10-part miniseries called The Vietnam War. And
that'll be interesting.
Super excited. So for you fans of that out there, that'll be on PBS this September. Get ready to put that on your schedule because I am extremely looking forward to that. They say this might be his best since baseball.
Did we talk about Hacksaw Ridge last time?
No, we did not talk about Hacksaw Ridge.
Do you want to talk? We
can talk about it real quick.
Let's do it. What'd you think?
Loved it.
I knew it.
The only thing I didn't like about it was how it ended. I wasn't real fan. It's just like it's like whoa, that's not like an ending, really. Yeah. But I get it why they did it, but yeah, they didn't put a bow on it, so to speak.
Mel Gibson, man.
He delivered again, man. Mel Gibson's the man. I hope he does direct Suicide Squad.
I hope he does too. I think
he'll do a good job.
I was blown away by Hacksaw Ridge. I didn't think it would affect me that much.
For them to make a meaningful war movie about a conscientious objector, someone who doesn't really. It's not that he didn't want to be there. He absolutely he was willing to go to prison. So that he could go, but he just said, "Look, I don't want to have to kill people," and I get that. Now is that rare? Is that rare in war? Absolutely. If you're going to go to war, you're going to have to probably kill somebody.
Yeah.
But I was blown away by it. I thought it was a great movie.
The fact that the dude saved how many lives did he
70
save?
something people. 72 people or something like that. And by himself.
That's 70-something families that are alive today because of that dude right there, man.
Yes.
And that's such a great movie. Hacksaw Ridge, man, if you have not seen that movie, watch that movie. Now, it is not a family movie.
No, absolutely not. No.
Don't let us make you think that it is. It's not. It's along the same lines of Braveheart, really, in the fact that it's a great historical movie, but it's very violent. It's very graphic. But it's a good movie, man.
Yeah, so some people may not be aware, when they go to watch it, they think, oh, this is about a good Christian guy, you know.
No.
I mean, it is,
Yeah,
but that's not what the
there's
movie's
more,
about.
yeah.
That's just the reason behind it is
Yeah.
his feelings, you know, towards, you know, his religion,
Yeah.
you know. So, I mean, and of course it explains why he's that way too, which I thought was a really heartfelt moment too.
Yeah.
You know, why he doesn't want to hold a gun again. And I mean, I can understand that, you know.
And dude, when he's getting beat,
I know.
I'll leave it at that. Probably shouldn't have said that, but oh gosh, that scene right there, because you just feel for him, dude.
I love at the end though when they interviewed his captain.
Oh,
that he saved his life, and that happens.
And that's not a spoiler, because at the end of the credits they talk to the original.
They talk to him, and he's tearing up. Still,
yeah, I know.
70 years later, he still tears up. Of course, I think he's dead now, but
yeah, he is.
But I mean, he's tearing up about this because he said, "I had told him you will not stand next to me."
Yeah.
And yet he saved my life.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I mean, it's like just because he didn't, and it's like he told him, he says, "I won't carry a gun. I'm not going to be taking lives. I'm going to be saving lives." And that's exactly what he did.
What's so amazing to me, man, is like, okay, I'm going to get a little too deep here, probably, but when you watch a movie like that, man, you think about everything that's going on right now in your day-to-day life, and you think, man, freaking my day sucked or whatever. Like, these dudes live with that every day, that went through that, you know,
Yes.
that war, that horror. That's a horror movie right there. And it's just such a great movie. Definitely watch it. What's his name that played the main guy?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. I've never really been a huge fan of him, but I became a fan of him after that movie. And Mel Gibson, I don't care. The dude's a heck of a director and heck of an actor.
He knows how to make a good flick.
Yes, he does.
You know, I mean, he might be a little Looney Tunes, but you know what? Maybe you got to be a little Looney Tunes to get what you want out of life sometimes.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And but if you know, well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. Joey, is that it, man? Is that all you wanted to say?
Yeah, I'm good today. Yeah, that's about it. Yep.
Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening. Also, make sure you check out Countdown to Geek Town. They're doing awesome things still over there. And thank you all for your support. And especially thank you so much for your comments on Facebook. We greatly appreciate that. And, you know, anytime you guys have thoughts about whether it's the podcast or maybe what's going on out there in a nerdy world, holler at us on Facebook and let us know what you think about maybe topics and stuff. And throw things out there that we might not see all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have lives just like you guys, so sometimes we don't see everything.
Exactly right. Right. Okay, well, without further ado, I'm Anthony.
And I am Joseph Henry, better known as Joey to you guys.
Da-da! Bye, guys.
Stay nerdy.